Welcome to Good Geek Out, good place to go to geek out. We're geeking out today. We're geeking out about something that's kind of big on the internet right now. Invincible comic book adaptation by Amazon. I had never seen it, but we're going to be talking about it. First two episodes. Editor San Antonio checking in. What's up, fellas?
What's up, Big Ed? It's Greg Ellis weighing in from West Hills, Cali. What's going on?
It's Reverse Rambo from the Pacific Northwest, Washington.
And this is Boba Fresh out of San Francisco by way of Los Angeles, Mid-City, home of Marvin Gaye. Happy birthday, Marvin Gaye.
Nice.
Happy birthday to Gabe. So, first two episodes, I don't know how we're going to talk about it, but I would like to mention that the intros for both are extremely emotional and like driven by 1 to 2 people, and then you get sucked into their world and then it's just erased and they don't matter anymore, or they get played with for
Right.
fictional sake.
Right.
Good way to start it. What did you guys think about it? Okay, I guess first, how many of you have actually read the comic? Strider.
I have them, but I hadn't read them. A friend of mine sent them to me months ago, and I have like the graphic novels just stacked there. And then once I saw the show, I was like, "Yo, I gotta read those.
I'm completely fresh, completely new to this.
Me as well. Strider, you said the art translates pretty well in these episodes.
Yeah, I think the pen to page going to the silver screen, the celluloid as it were, is extremely good. Like they nail the art in a consistency style that is, like the person who you create something, and as soon as someone changes that, it's not yours anymore. And so the fact that they stay true to the original designs so much all the way through is, I think, like a really solid like homage. I love Batman animated series, but I don't like reading Batman animated series comics, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm 100% there too. Like, I love that series. I didn't the love for the comic books. I expected more. I felt like the art style for comic books was a little too simplistic,
Exactly.
But no, with this, I think it, like, going the reverse way, it's a good homage, like you said, right? Like it stays true to it.
Sound, the art, and the voice casting, which we can get into.
Beautiful. It's amazing, dude.
Right.
Amazing
Right.
cat.
Just superb. Like, characters keep getting introduced, and I'm so, like, I hate looking at the IMDb's, or like, Amazon likes to tell you who it is at the
Yep.
bottom. Like, don't show me, because I want to kind of get it. But what do you think, Greg?
I loved it, and I think there's a deeper. I talk with some friends who aren't as comic savvy, right? And one of the things they were saying is, "Oh man, how are they not getting sued by Marvel? It's like a lot of these characters are straight knockoffs." And so I'm like, look, this was a graphic novel way before this. I mean, this is not a thing. I mean, there's a finite, I should say, finite amount of superpowers that we can create. Some of the characters are, you can directly associate them with more popular characters. But the reason I bring this up is talk again about how it's drawn, right? I think it's kind of genius to draw it the way they drew it, knowing there's characters that people are going to associate, like, Darkwing and Batman, right? I mean, damn. Right? It's like they're very similar, but it's drawn in a way where it's kind of like making fun of that. You know what I'm saying? It's
exactly.
Where we're not too full on ourselves, and we're not going to try to. If you look at the characters, don't have symbols on their uniforms. You know what I mean? They are who they are. We can make comparisons. The people in this Zoom definitely can make comparisons, right? But the show doesn't. It doesn't dwell on that. It's that. Let's move forward. We've got a good story to tell, and then they tell a great story. Just starting off, like Ed said, on the guy is, he's emotional. my family, that all of a sudden 2 blue twins come out of the ground with these big ass guns. It's like that's just the way it starts, and that's awesome. Direction is
It
pretty
lulls
dope.
you in a it lulls you in, right? Like you're like, oh, okay, you kind of start letting your preconceived notions of what you've seen and stuff kind of take over. Like, all right, this is a wholesome tale of like a kid coming to terms with his powers. He has a pretty nuclear family, and like things seem to be going well. And it updid that, right? Like it's a cute story about an old man. Then it takes a fantastical turn, right? And it kind of like shakes that reality a little bit, or turns it over on its head. And yeah, I agree. Like this kind of did the same thing where like I watched the first episode, the first 2 episodes twice because I watched it, then my wife wanted to watch it, and then my kids too. So like the first half of the first episode, they were through their phones and stuff, because they've seen it before, right? Like they've seen the story thousands of times or hundreds of times or whatever. So it's like, and then like it just flips that on its head, and they're like, what happened, right? Like,
okay, so I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things I was really happy is that they didn't drag on the storyline of he didn't have powers and he's waiting to get his powers.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever seen that movie Sky High.
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so in Sky High, I thought that went on way too long. He didn't have powers. It was like, oh, and he whines about it, and then his dad, it's got dad issues. Whatever. I think they did it perfectly on this one, right? Because they like to have the conversation. You find out that he doesn't have his powers that morning, and he throws a trash can in the space that night.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that the mixture of our very familiar our Peter Parker, like this is our our common coming of age, but like you said, Glenn, like it's a nuclear family. Like the trauma of the family being broken up isn't there.
Yeah.
And that's a key part of all of our characters' build. The part of Darkwing, I now cannot not see Darkwing Duck being a black character. I said, like, that is
man.
Change.
I mean, we kind of knew that already. Who else rocks like a purple suit like that, bro? A purple suit with shoulder pads? You thought he was white? Come on, dog.
A pimp named Slickback.
And the fact that, like I guess we'll get to the timeline of the first episode, but the ending of the first episode is so fucking like edge of your seat, heart pumping, white knuckled. And you're like, they've got to get out. Like they've got to get they've got to get out of there. Like they're not
we spent all episode like learning, like even when the what's his name, Rush,
yeah,
like he was talking to his wife, and like the part where he says like you got to understand, like my perception moves as fast as I do. Like one conversation with somebody lasts hours, like, and I paused it and I told my wife, like, I'm glad they're doing this. Like, we're gonna learn like their perspective, their insight, their struggles with their powers, because we don't see this often, right? Like this is an interesting perspective. It made me really interested in the character and hope to see more of him and like struggle with like his ability to maintain, like not get bored, right?
You had a different experience with that than I did. My wife, for sure, on that part, punched me in the arm. And I said, what's funny? She's like, you're not even super speed, and you for sure have said that to me before.
I hear like, well, it's not following the comic book exactly. And it's like, I don't think it should, because it's fitting this 45-minute slot perfectly.
Yeah.
Yes.
That it needs within the time slot that it needs with the arc that it's doing. Because the first episode ends, and I had to remind myself, I was like, how does the second one go? And I was like, how are they going to get this pacing done right? And boom, they get into the second episode, and they fucking homage Teen Titans, and they homage
Fantastic Four and stuff, and
Fantastic Four, Skrull, Chitauri,
Alien of the Week.
Whatever.
Yeah.
When Jillian Jacobs comes in as Adam Eve, I was super impressed, because I was like, that is the perfect voice. Like that is the perfect temperament for this crush. And then how, again, we're talking about the pacing, then how fast the Amber, like, oh, well, is he talking to Eve now? Like what's going on? Like, it was just like.
That's got my wife in. That whole little,
high school
that got my wife. That got my wife in there, right? She got hooked in there. She's like, "Oh man, which one is he gonna choose?" Dodgy beats. all day. Just
No, yeah, but yeah, it's also like with the wife too, right? The with the Sandra Oh from Killing Eve and Grey's Anatomy. I haven't seen like old ton of Grey's Anatomy, like whatever my wife watches. But in Killing Eve, it's like she's like this really kind of like determined, individual, and that voice comes across with the wife. Like you have to have a certain temperament to be the wife of the most powerful man in the world, right? Like, and that like whole I take no bullshit. I was like, bro, that's solid. That's fucking really good casting.
I hear her from Sideways, from that movie Sideways. That's the voice and the character of her that I hear when I hear the mom. But to what you just said, the scene where, and I forget if this is, I do believe this is still the first episode, or maybe it is. It's like, I don't know. The scene where she's like, you go upstairs and go to bed. And he's like, make me.
Yeah, it's that first episode.
She's like, what? She's like, oh, does that make you feel bad now? Like, that's when I really started to hear her voice as she starts to go off a little bit.
Yeah. That scene was awesome. That and then
that's the second one, because it's good because they do the dichotomy between his time with his dad and his time with his mom, and like how different it is, and how like one is a little more like superficial kind of with his dad, and then with his mom it's way more heartfelt. So like I assume when things end up turning, as you can kind of already tell, it's going to be a lot different than his mom if he was going against his mom,
So that was my favorite scene with his dad. The very first training with his dad, when he punched him in the chest, bro. I lost it. My sons could not understand why I was laughing so hard. That shit was hilarious to me. I was like, his explanation of it was perfect. It was like, look, when you go up against your foes, these ops, they're not gonna pull their punches. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, and he was like, and the son's response was just basically, how did you do that? You know what I'm saying? It was like he's sitting there, he's all broke up, he's out of breath, he's trying to catch his breath, but he's just like, how did you do that? I thought that was great.
That's right before they're playing catch, right?
Huh?
They're playing catch around the world.
That was the second time. That's the second time they were training.
That's right.
I for sure have punched my little brothers like that. So
that's your little brother, bro.
Yeah, but if you've ever had an older cousin or an older brother or somebody like that in your life, you've been punched that way before at some point. So I felt that completely. Like I felt that I've been in that situation. I felt it. It's like one of those things. I'm making you tougher, not not I hate you. You know what I'm saying? So it was
my half brother Neil used to play football for Texas A&M, and so it was that type of hit when you hit that person in your life and you're like, oh shit, I hit you. Like, I might die right now. I do what is about to happen. All the rules have just gotten broken.
Yeah. It's going down.
Like, did you guys catch the name of the school though?
Okay, so yes, absolutely.
I love that shit. I looked at like, damn, that name's familiar.
He's also the voice of the principal at the school though.
What's the name of the school?
I don't know if you cut.
Reginald Bell Johnson.
Reginald Bell Johnson, the dad from Family Matters.
Bro.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's also the voice of the principal at the school. So like when you hear
I saw him as a voice.
That's actually Reginald Bell Johnson.
The principal, right? Like I didn't.
No. You only hear his voice on like the intercom, like at the school. That's actually Reginald Bell Johnson.
So like let's move on to episode 2. I would definitely say once I see episode 2, I realize how much I love the Invincible title drops.
I guess like before we move on to episode 2, I'd like to bring up just like we were talking about the animation, right? Like how well it's done, but fuck, did they step it up a notch at the end, right? Like that shit went almost anime at the end, bro. Of episode 1. Yeah. Like it was just fast. It was, like Rob said, kinetic. It was fucking cathartic, bro. It was like what a beautiful fucking scene, bro. That reminded me of like the car chase in that movie Ronin. Just no music, just sounds, grunts. It was intimate. It was just like it was one of the most beautiful displays of animated violence I've seen in a long time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The two standout scenes, Darkwing getting like just grabbed by the leg and just fucking flattened. Because it makes you. It was obviously an homage to the
Hulk and Loki.
The Hulk and Loki, and you're just like, ooh, that's what should have happened to your head, right?
Yeah. But then like getting hit by Mjolnir. So like when he swung the freaking hammer, hit the shark.
Oh yeah, and like the head just goes, and like it's just fucking fish heads, roly poly fish heads, and but the other real scene was actually when Immortal Man and I want to say Utopia, but Power Princess.
War Lady,
War Woman.
War Woman.
When she turns and they're just like trying to figure it out, and they're like, someone must be controlling his mind. Like they're fucking so panicked and like
They're scared.
Yeah.
that framing, like everything there was so great. And then the green, the Emerald Lady, and she's just no. Oh, man.
Yeah, no, and I think what's like what made that, like, besides the spectacular violence, right, is that they spent all episode hyping you up around these characters, and just to fucking do away with them with such reckless abandon and such ease, not only goes to show like yeah, hey, you weren't, this isn't what you fucking expected, right? Like the whole episode barely had a drop of blood in it up until that moment. Like the closest amount of blood you saw was the dude covering his eye after the clone.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is not your typical fucking superhero. That should put you on notice. And it's like, just and it obviously shows the like awesome power of Omni-Man, right? Like this dude is offing these dudes like nothing. There's no remorse. There's no hesitation. This is cold, calculated.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, bro. And then, but I love how like
that's his name, right? Doesn't it? Yeah.
I love how like he also like it wasn't like he was completely unbeatable. He got fucked up.
So that's my thing, is that I don't think that it was nothing to him. I think that he had to get them all together because he knew if he only took one or two of them out, the rest of them, if they had time to plan and prep, would actually be able to take him down, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So he has to do like this is an all or nothing gamut move. Because if one of them gets away and his cover's blown, like everything's gonna just go out the window. And so when Red Rush is just beating his hands literally.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
And his uniform kind of rips, so you could tell he's catching him.
Like he's catching those hits.
The clay guy, the guy who turns into like plastic.
Martian Man.
Clay. That was Martian Man. Martian Man. Can I say that his power was trash? All he did,
yeah. He just got tired stretching.
Yeah, all he did was wrap him up. And then the way he died, his homeboy just like reached down and like rips his eye. It's like he's done.
He's Martian Manhunter with the non-creative writer.
No, he's Meg on Family Guy when everybody gets powers and her only power is that her fingernails get long. So, Ed, you were bringing up the Invincible, like the mid episode.
The title screen, the way they dropped the Invincible title screen anywhere.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking dope.
Yeah. Ed, have you noticed that each time
each episode it gets more bloody?
Yeah, it's a little more blood.
Yes.
It's a little more blood every single time.
Yep. Someone else told me that at work. The only guy I got to watch it.
So episode 2, here goes nothing. Immediately, what do we have? The aftermath of the fight, right?
Yeah.
They show up. Who do they make us love in the beginning of this episode?
Probably Cecil.
Cecil is the first one that shows up. Him and Darkblood.
No, but there's a story in the beginning about somebody. Oh, and he's like, he called me dad.
Oh,
oh, yes. Because let me ask, where did the burgers come from? I
didn't get that either.
I don't know where the burgers come from. Like, and then it goes from like all of the burgers splattered on the ground
to the murder scene.
Like,
I was wondering if it was the trash can he threw, the trash bag.
Was that what?
Right?
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
That's good call. Yeah. That's exactly what it was, because that's the place he works at. The burger.
Yeah, but I was like, there's no point in that scene. I don't know. I guess like
now it's great. Now it just made me gonna watch the episode again.
Yeah. Okay. The opening scene be what the opening scene is. Cecil and Donald showing up, but that whole containment team, the hollow invisible suits, like everything about that is how you want that to work.
Yep.
And it was beautiful. Like even when Homegirl pulls down the mask and she's just like puking, like picking up Immortal Man's head, and like they've got all of this stuff together. This happened before on some level. Like this is a routine to them. So
yeah,
they're picking up pieces of people and they're like, Yeah, this one's dead. Like, no shit.
No, but even then, it kind
that
of
a
gives
brain?
you a little bit of hope, right? Like the first
Is
time
that
around,
a piece
you're
of
like,
a
oh, they
lung?
might get put. Nah. He's
Nah.
the only one that made it. It's like, fuck, bro. Like, what the fuck?
There's a beauty when the audience knows something that everyone on the screen doesn't know, that just gets handled so well in this, because we're looking into Omni-Man's world, we're looking into Cecil's world, we're looking into this like Mark's world. Like they do such a good job shifting the camera perspective and making it constantly valid. And when mom shows up and she's like, give me a cold rag, like don't give me this shit, like again, like that, like on point, like
Go get the Vicks and castor oil. Go get the Vicks and the castor oil. I got this.
Give me some coffee
over
grounds
there.
and some lemon.
Yeah, give me some coffee grounds and lemon.
Take off his socks.
I got this. I've been doing it for 20 years.
No, that was a dope touch too. You know, like she's like, who the fuck knows him better than I do? I've been patching him up for like that 20 years. You know, it's really awesome. Well done.
It's and I mean I dare say it because I know where the story is going, but it is the healthiest relationship of super parents.
That's what I was gonna say too. Like
I was gonna go into that next. There's several. So
Yeah.
even just from the very beginning in episode 1, where they're like all over each other, and he's like, "Mom, Dad, like never in front of your kids," like right. And then for however many 20 some odd years they've been together, how much they still like want to be together, how much they know each other, and it plays out in how they respond to tragedy that happens all around them. Right. You can just see how strong their relationship is. That's pretty awesome. It's not something that gets highlighted in a lot of things today because you want to be realistic. That's now not the common theme. So for you to see that it's kind of refreshing, right?
Yeah, I like how she's not like your typical like Ma Kent or like Aunt May. Although those characters have a lot of history to them and shit. It's not like they got some age-old wisdom bullshit. Like nah, she has some fucking bite to her, bro. Like she ain't gonna take shit, Yeah, but I like that.
I think it's a false equivalency to compare her to Ma Kent when she's much closer to Lois Lane. And
no, well, I guess that is true, yeah.
Because you're looking at Invincible's eyes and thinking how like his mom works, but it's like Omni-Man's Clark, like this is Lois Lane. And so that's what I think is the beauty. Like, sure, on Family Matters, we've got a great example of a family that's working. But in superheroes, it's just never been a thing. There aren't happy families. There aren't happy parents.
I mean, kind of bringing back what Rob was saying about the aliens. They were just the perfect, like, random alien of the week, but also enough beholden to, like, characters in comics. So, like, they're just enough. And especially because you could see them evolve so quickly with the whole time dilation thing. And you got
this interesting take,
iterations of these alien invasions that we've seen in different comic books. It was pretty fucking awesome. And just that one dude who just randomly got hit.
Yeah.
Comes like the fucking main guy who's like coming back. It was just fucking hilarious, man. I mean, it's real.
Okay. But Rexplode, man, like this guy's an amalgamation of all the douchebag characters, bro. He's just insufferable, man. Like this motherfucker is Human Torch, Iceman, Gambit, like all the douchebags,
Green Lantern and Justice League War.
Yeah, he is like I love the voice actor, dude. Like it's perfect because he is such a fucking douche, man. Like
I'll do you one better. I'll say that Rexplode is very close to Beast Boy. He's Garfield. Garfield is insufferable. If you don't look for the new Teen Titans, he hits on everyone all the time. He's bad jokes. He's just so insecure and just such a. So they do a great job, like bringing that. It's obviously a self-esteem issue where he's like pushing himself out there. Rexplode and Garfield on that level, and just like the Rexplode, like he's got to kiss Eve as soon as she shows up, and
right.
The Damien Darkhold character he's obviously mocking Hellboy, but isn't this an Image comic and wasn't Hellboy on Image?
You can't mock things.
I'm just curious. I didn't know if that was accurate or not.
Why have the real Hellboy when you can just mock him?
Or is he Dark Horse? That's Dark Horse. Yeah, that's right.
Dark Horse, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I was just confused, but that I do like that character though, and the whole like, you know, the Black Ops thing. Everyone leave the room, and they know to leave already, and the breath, and just the subtlety, and it doesn't take very long for the audience to learn when he's there. Like they double down on the breath, like
Right.
really, like it feels like nothing is wasted in the 30 minutes or whatever of the show. Everything, it kind of all leads to something, and like just 2 episodes in right now. Fuck, man. I don't know how long it's going, but fuck. I'm really I'm intrigued as I am when I started watching The Boys.
First of all, the voice character for Omni-Man is like one of the scariest TV characters ever for me. Because I was a teenager when I first started watching the show Oz. And his character on Oz, right? Yeah. His character on Oz was the leader of the Aryan Brotherhood. And he was one of the scariest dudes in Oz. And so I hear that voice. And so like when he's on the alien planet and he's like, look, I have to tell you guys, Earth is not yours to take. And the look of fear on all of their faces, like he hadn't even done anything yet. And I think they just knew. They just knew it's a wrap. You see them hugging together as he's like he's holding a planet-sized rock about to drop it on him.
But it's also another nice touch that like he was on their planet. He comes back to Earth with a beard. Like he was there for fucking a long ass time, even though moments passed on Earth, you know.
And those explosions, for the very few scenes that you do see when he's on the planet fucking shit up, and you don't need to see much more than you do, which is 10 seconds, but he's fucking shit up so bad. The way the explosions were drawn straight reminded me of the beginning of Fist of the North Star. The way that like when it's the beginning,
I'm about to go watch that again.
Universe, that shit from J. Rue the Damager, and like it looked exactly the same. Like, the way the explosions were going off, I was like, "Fuck, this is giving me all kinds of nostalgic feels."
I watched that whole scene like, this is amazing. It's like, you know, I love movies where you're angry at someone in the movie and they die to the extent you think that they should die. Right?
I will say, damn man, episode 2 was way more exciting than episode 1. And if you start watching this show, you will not regret 1 second. Everything's worth something. Give it a shot. Editor San Antonio closing out for tonight.
Greg West Hills, aka Bruticus.
Reverse Rambo, fan of violence up in Washington.
Boba Fresh, Wakanda forever.
Peace out, y'all.